here. But plenty of players here that you can keep your eyes on. But our game we're going to be watching here on the mainstream, of course, is Neo Stokes going up against future FC's Ustun.
Yeah, it's going to be Ustun from left to right in the black and white kit that you see with the ball at the moment, and then Stokes is going to be in the darker kit from right to left. Looking at both squads, quite a similar approach in style. We've got VVD at the back, Maldini to Stegen in goal. Although to Stegen off chem for Stokes, which was an interesting decision, I think just at the 7 chemistry. However, a lot of people have their preference for goalkeepers, and we'll see how that develops throughout this tournament.
Yeah, goalkeepers is always an interesting thing to keep an eye on, because we're kind of waiting for that first mistake from a goalkeeper, and sometimes we'll see a player very efficiently swap him out, should we say, but it's actually going to be Stokes here. He's managed to get into the box, tries that little accelerated fake shot to get round the fullback, and you can see already here, Dan, end-to-end stuff. Not a lot of build-up play through the midfield. We're seeing a direct ball over the top here to release Johan Cruyff, but that man VVD you mentioned comes across to deal with the danger.
Yeah, you can try these over-the-top through balls, and they might work against your average defender, but when you've got teams like this on the esports accounts, you're going to be struggling to really get into those positions unless you play a pinpoint pass, because Cruyff is not going to be able to beat VVD. Even though VVD, one of the slower defenders, actually, probably more likely to get it past him, Maldini, but we'll see whether anyone can open something up as this game goes on.
Here's Stokes on the attack now. Interesting to see Jordi Alba in at fullback here. That road to the final foot item. And now it's going to be R9 Ronaldo, a man we see so many goals finished off by. Playing the ball back in. And Vieira's found space here. And Neymar opens the account here in Bucharest. The first goal on stream. And it is the Brazilian. He's not an icon, but you're going to see lots of goal from the little Brazilian.
A lot of people's favourite, just standard gold item in the game is Neymar. Having that 5-star weak foot just makes him such an asset to any team. You can twist and turn in the box. It's so difficult to predict. If he does get some sort of inform throughout this season, I mean, I'm sure that he'll have like a team of the year, team of the season. Just gets better and better each time we use him in each iteration of FIFA. But what perfect way this is to start for Stokes. And Ustun is going to have to respond, which he is very good at responding. But if Stokes can get maybe 2-3 ahead.
Great little scoop turn there from Johan Cruyff, but well read by the defender. And something we're seeing more and more being effective in this game, in FIFA 20, is that little fake shot or the scoop turn on the edge of the box just to get the half a yard. And when you combine that with the 5-star weak foots, it makes it so difficult to defend against.
Very interesting decision dribbling for Stokes. He's waiting for these passes. He's not actually playing your simple through ball. Instead, he's waiting and trying to be unpredictable here against Ustun.
Well, here's Hullet then. A little bit of space, maybe thinking about pulling the trigger there, but a beautiful little reverse ball to Eusebio, and the shot at the near post has to be turned behind there by the goalkeeper. Good pressure here from Stokes, and he's finding a lot of space in behind for Ustun. A lot of pressure early from the Englishman, kind of continuing with the form that we saw at the end of last season at the start here.
Tries to think it out to Van Dijk on the edge of the box, and corners are still something that no one's really found anything that works, but now maybe there's a chance for Ustun here on the counter-attack.
Yeah, R9's using his pace to get away from the fullback. Now stops up, has to wait for support to come and give him a few options passing wide. There is a run just outside of Ruud Hullet there, but not used here by Ustun. Just keeps it with the Dutchman, who goes back inside to Pele. Great tackle there from Jordi Alba to break up the attack, but a real chance on the counter-attack there for Ustun, not taken advantage of.
Both these players look really scary going forward, though. Their dribbling capabilities and their on-the-ball decisions seem to be incredibly accurate, and that is going to make it very difficult for the other to defend. And even though they're two attacking players, it's going to be who can defend better in this game.
Big chance here. R9! One chance, one goal for R9, and it's not the first time we're going to be saying that man's name. Ustun lays it back inside, and the Brazilian just smashes it home across the goalkeeper. A simple finish, a simple goal, and already 2 goals in this game down. This is the FIFA we wanted to see.
Stokes wasn't particularly happy about it as well. He thought he had positioned his defender well enough where he's going to be able to stop any sort of shot, but I guess you can't really rely on that. When R9 gets into those positions, he does have the ability to smash him in. The goalkeeper wasn't able to get that either, but maybe a little bit of a wake-up call for Stokes, because even though he's been going forward well and defensively he's been stepping in the right areas, he has been aggressively stepping in with his fullbacks, and all it takes is one missed tackle and then suddenly it's an opportunity for your opponent. But back to my previous point, I think it's going to be whoever defends better in this game wins, and that's going to be the interesting thing for 2 very attacking style players.
As both of these players managed to pick up a win last year, it was the playoffs for Stokes. It was, of course, the PlayStation champion in Singapore for Ustun. Didn't manage to quite win that cross-console final. Came up against a young man by the name of Tex, which is always difficult to wrestle any kind of result out of. 1-1 after 30 minutes here. It's great to see both players coming forward, and that's a beautiful ball just inside the fullback, but Zambrotta managed to cover that space well.
Really like Zambrotta at right back. It's made such a difference in these past two tournaments.
Eusebio now inside the box. Simple football here from Stokes. Eusebio goes across goal, and it's 2-1 to Stokes. It was as simple as you like.
Did not expect him to shoot there, and I'm not sure that Ustun did as well. The layoff to Cruyff was available, but Stokes knows exactly how to put the ball in the back of the net. It's one thing that he's always done. He did it throughout FIFA 19. He almost defined the shooting meta towards the end, and he is doing exactly the same here in FIFA 20. Eusebio, the core part of so many teams, and if you can save up those coins, would definitely recommend him if you can add him to your squad.
So 10 minutes until half-time here. 3 goals in the first half of this first leg between these two, and it was such a simple goal in the grander scheme of things coming in there from Stokes. Just a ball in behind the defender, in behind those fullbacks. That's the thing with Ustun. He likes to use those fullbacks to get forward, and we saw it a few times in Bucharest in our first FUT Champions Cup at stage 1, Dan. If you get forward with those fullbacks, it can leave you open against that counter-attack, and Stokes showed it absolutely superbly there.
Well, he's encouraging the run on the left-hand side, and then if Ustun covers that run, he then goes back into the middle and he looks down the right-hand side. He's almost saying, look, I'm going to go back and forth until you don't cover one of these runs. And then as soon as he does get that gap, that's when he pulls the trigger, and that's when he goes for the ball in behind. And he looks so dangerous going forward, does Stokes, but needs to get a couple of goals ahead. Can't afford to just be one ahead, because when you're going up against a player like Ustun, it just takes one mistake and then suddenly he's back in the game.
Big switch of the play here from Virgil van Dijk. This might be one of the last chances of this first half as Jordi Alba steps into midfield. Fullback deciding to try and get forward himself. Eusebio now, the goal scorer. Man who has given Stokes that goal advantage. A little bit of a lapse pass there allows Zidane to nip in and win possession back here for Ustun. Maybe this is the last attack of this half now, and it's going to be Ustun who can come forward.
Yeah, just needs to make sure that he doesn't make any silly passes. He's trying to play 2 passes ahead at all times, because if you do give the ball away here, then it is a waste of an opportunity as Vieira steps in. And look how quickly Stokes is straight up the other side of the pitch, because he knows now if he wants to get a shot on goal, he has to just keep going forward with R9.
Yeah, R9 is just driving forward, and Pulit's trying to get across to deal with him. Eusebio now, there might be an opportunity here. Right at the depth of the first half here, Neymar's going to collect the pieces, tries a little drag back, and a physical challenge means that there won't be any opportunity. But at the end of the first half, Dan, an entertaining affair between these two players, and nothing short of what we might have expected.
Yeah, Neymar had a little stumble at the end there, didn't he? I think Stokes was probably thinking he was going to get a second shot away, but you can see from the statistics that briefly splashed on your screen, it's 4 shots on target for Stokes and only the 1 shot for Ustun. Not really the attacking form that we've seen from Ustun in previous tournaments, but I guess that's what happens when you go up against another attacking player sometimes. They just are able to hold you back and pin you back, and that's something that Stokes has done very successfully. He's really taken the game to Ustun. He's looked very scary going forward. We'll see whether Ustun changes something up in the second half.
Yeah, looking at those statistics as well, I always feel you have to kind of take them with a pinch of salt. There's been opportunities for Ustun to get strikes on goal. It's just been that last-ditch tackle a lot of the time from Stokes, which has kind of nipped those attacks in the bud.
Well, a lot of players say that just getting that ball into the striker.
Chance here for Cruyff.
Getting the ball into the striker is a chance. There we go. Is that going to be a shot on goal in the statistic? Probably not for Cruyff, because he didn't actually get it away. The defender was able to get it in, but you see so many of these players driving that pass into the striker back towards the defender. That is a chance. It's a possibility of a goal.
Well, that's a great ball out to Eusebio here at Ustun. Looking to tie this one up. Stegen has to get down and get a leg on that one just to turn it away from danger. The cutback looked dangerous from Ustun.
Again,
unfortunately, just that last chance not being created.
And it's not going to be a shot on goal either. So that's what you quite rightly pointed out. Can't always trust the stats.
We saw that fake shot in effect there from Neymar again, just creating the half yard to try and find that pass. Into the man for a strike at goal there for Stokes. Ustun now with a chance to come forward again. R9 into Zidane. The space here on the right-hand side as well for Eusebio instead, Zidane's going to travel with the ball at his feet, and that's a great ball in to Johan Cruyff. Turns back! And Ustun answers back, 2-2 now. And he hasn't had many shots on target, but when he has, he's made them count.
And there's three key things there for Ustun. There was so much space on the right-hand side, and everyone would have just played that ball, but he just keeps driving forward. He's able to cut inside. He sees Cruyff that it's available, but it's not the one turn, it's the second turn, which did Stokes in. Stokes just couldn't keep up. Van Dijk too slow to turn on the ball there. And we have got a game on our hands. And this is the game that we expected from two of our best competitors here at the tournament. It's a shame they match up in the first round of Swiss because it is seeded. But because Stokes wasn't here at the last tournament, he is slightly lower seeded than maybe he should be. And I'm sure that Ustun looked at that and said, for goodness sake, give me a break.
I mean, it's two sides to it, isn't it? It's one of those where it's like, this is a tough one to get started in my tournament, get my tournament rolling. And the other side, if you pick up a win, boy, that's going to give you some confidence. But 2-2 now. And on the hour mark, it's going to be Ustun looking to come forward again. And both players here, you can see, finding space, finding opportunities to score goals. And a little mistake there from Stokes. Maybe a little bit shaken by that goal he's just conceded. A little mistake just crept into his play. He's allowing Ustun to come forward again. Vieira gets a piece of it, but Hullet wrestles it back. Manages to get the ball into Johan Cruyff now again, looking for that scoop turn, but this time Stokes reads it well. That's
3 or 4 times Stokes just diving in so aggressively with his defenders. He's got a clear way of how he wants to defend and then quickly trying to shift the ball up to the other side of the pitch as quick as possible just to ensure that there's not going to be as many defenders behind the ball for Ustun. But I think he's probably got a lot more freedom than he's used to in FIFA 20 because he's going up against Ustun, because Ustun does attack.
Oh, that is a beautiful little ball roll away from the man, and that was all because, again, of the idea of a pass inside to Hullet there. Vieira took the ball himself and found an extra pass, a more direct pass towards goal, and it just shows the thought process here for some of the best players we have in the world, always thinking outside of the box and outside of the norm.
Sometimes you've got to think, well, what would I do in this position? Let's not do that because then it's predictable. My opponent knows I'm going to do this. These two have also played each other online quite a lot as well recently on the PlayStation, so they would have learnt their tendencies, they would have learnt their patterns in the game. You've got to try and do something different.
That's a great ball again into Johan Cruyff. Back on that left foot. Well, you could see the red arrow just lit up there. And I think it might have been a double tap that he didn't intend. Looking for a time finish, possibly. But the result is a big chance squandered there by Ustun. And now can Stokes make him count? It's Hullet versus Hullet. Ronaldo now inside the box. Stokes back inside. And that's how cruel the game can be.
And the biggest question for me, do you need timed finishing turned on? If you're not going to be using it, if you're not going to be going for those greens, that's the punishing side of it. If you do have that just moment where you double tap it by accident, it allowed Stokes to go down the other end, but it was composure from Stokes in that box as well. A little ball roll to get away from the keeper. He saw the open space for the man to put it away, and he's got the lead once again.
And that's what we talk about, those men, where mentality comes into things. You have to put that to the back of your mind if you're Ustun and answer back like you have before. 15 minutes until the end of our first leg here in-game. Zidane's going to turn away from Vieira. Tries a little ball inside there to R9, but well defended by Stokes. And just to go back to that point, I mean, it wouldn't be a surprise here to see the score. You almost expect the score to be 3-2 to Ustun here with that huge chance that he did have, but that little mistake, Dan, can be the difference at this level.
Well, thankfully, Ustun is a very experienced FIFA player, and he should be able to put that behind him. Neymar, though.
Inside the box to Eusebio, Van Dijk makes the tackle.
However, if you are going to let little things like that nibble away at you, then you're not going to succeed in FIFA. Like, if you can get anything like that in your mind, it gets stuck on your brain, you start to think about other things, then you are just really going to struggle. The best players can just put it behind them, and they'll be able to ignore them going forward.
Well, here's Cruyff again. Eusebio now back into Cruyff! And he is deadly in front of goal. Johan Cruyff makes this 3-3. And this is entertainment. What a game we have to kick off the broadcast.
Yeah, how about that for putting it in the back of your mind? The best way to get over it is just getting another goal back, getting straight back into it. And Ustun just looks so scary with Cruyff as well. I mean, we always talk about R9, we always talk about Eusebio, but that 91 Cruyff has crept into a lot of squads. Surprisingly, we were thinking about people going to use Messi, because of course the new inform Messi is available for players at this tournament as well. Fortunately, they don't have the informed Ronaldo as far as I'm aware, so we're not going to see whether he's good enough for the inclusion. But Messi's been cut out, Ronaldo's been cut out, and instead, Cruyffy boy is there.
Well, that's the thing, is that you kind of had that tendency to think when you start a new game, like, who was effective last year? Who was really good for me last year? And Cruyff wasn't one of those meta players we saw in the starting lineup a lot of the time, but this year, new game, and he's just a completely new player by the looks of things. He's, as you say, creeping into more and more teams. Obviously has that 5-star weak foot,
I think that's
which we talk so much about, and that is vital in front of goal. You've already seen it in effect here with some of the turns that Ustun has used to get back onto either foot to turn away from the defender. It's just it's almost invaluable at this point of the game. You have to have that 5-star weak foot to break down these defenses.
Even bigger surprise is Stokes is playing that Cruyff off Chem as well. Fairly certain he's playing him in a right forward position from the start.
Oh, it's beautiful from Vieira, the little hill to hill, and Lionel Messi is on the pitch now for Stokes, and he's battling to try and get the ball back from Zambrotta, but the Italian comes away, but the Argentine then wins it back, and it's back and forth there between the two. And eventually Ustun will win possession and be able to just take a deep breath here and take the foot off the gas.
So I was going to say one of the main reasons you might use Cruyff is because of that central position, and maybe you're going to play a 4-2-2 starting formation and not have any wingers, but I think Stokes and Ustun were both using Neymar, so they already have the one winger, so there's a possibility they might both be playing him off cam. I know Stokes is, I'm not sure if Ustun is. I haven't seen his starting screen like Stokes tweeted out. But just the final moments, and maybe one final chance, and it's going to be there. And that's going to be Ustun behind for so long in this game, taking it right at the death. And that's going to be tough for Stokes.
And just looking at the player cam here for Ustun as well, a fantastic little fake shot to get the space, to get R9 into a position to strike at goal, but smiles. All smiles from Ustun, and that's a good sign for him. Sometimes you see him get a little bit down on himself, and that's when he doesn't play his best FIFA. But when he's free-flowing, when he's scoring goals, that's when this man is so scary. 4-3 now, right at the death. And what a game that was to start. 7-goal thriller.
It's always good to see a smile on his face as well, because if you know Ustun and you've met him outside of when he's playing, like, always one of the happiest people around, always got a smile on his face. But sometimes he can get a little bit down on himself. Sometimes he doesn't think he's playing as well as he could have. And we've spoken to him after events, and he says, like, I just didn't play well enough. I need to do better. Well, this is your chance now. You're going up against Stokes, who was the Xbox playoff champion of last year. There is expectations on his head. There is that, all those eyes that are looking at this score saying, all right, this is the big match of round one. Let's see how these two, because it's going to be an indication of the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, and just going back to what we were talking about with Ustun there, is sometimes, you know, when he doesn't do great at tournaments, like you were mentioning, it's that lack of belief. It's kind of, he questions himself, you know, is he good enough to be winning tournaments, etc. But when he's got the smile on the face, all of those thoughts just kind of go to the side, and it's going to be exciting to watch him go in the tournament if he keeps that smile on his face. But obviously this is just the first leg down. We have to take that into account. 2 legs here in FIFA 20 to decide who the winner is across any of the rounds that we're going to be going through. So he still needs to get this done, and you know there's going to be goals in this second leg. The question is, can Ustun extend the lead, or will Stokes make a comeback?
And I'm just looking at his Swiss run last time we were here in Bucharest 2 weeks ago. The players he faced, Yago, Tuga, Nicholas, and Lost in the Waves.
Not bad. Difficult Swiss,
like,
that.
4 of the better players that you would get in a Swiss stage. I know when we get to these tournaments, everyone is a phenomenal player.
And it's
those
such a
are some
mix
huge names.
Play styles as well.
Oh, yeah.
That he's going up against there. You look through it, and you know, Yago, we saw how good he was back at the last tournament. Tuga, very defensive-minded player. Nicholas, we all know about Nicholas, and then, I mean, Lost in the Waves. I mean, you know what you're going to get from him, and it's going to be nothing short of everyone flying forward at you. So that was a good test for him in that first tournament to get through that. Maybe too much of a test where, having got through there, he kind of took his eye off the ball a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at the losses he did have. Nicholas, he lost 2-1. For Filza, he lost 2-1. And they are players that kind of have that more all-around approach, who are very good at defending, aren't the most attacking players in the world. Yes, they can go forward. Yes, they can score goals. But I think, really, Ustun thrives in a scenario where he's going up against someone else who just comes at him. And Stokes is a player who's going to be attacking him. Lost in the Waves was a player attacking him. And Ustun will always say, well, all right, well, I can score 1 more than you. Whereas he struggles when he goes up against someone when they take a lead and they will just park the bus. That's where I think he gets a little bit frustrated, because it's not the style of FIFA he wants to play. This is his style of FIFA, and that's why we just got that entertaining first leg.
I think he's always more comfortable when he has possession of the ball himself, and if someone isn't willing to give that to him, then maybe that frustration does creep in, like you were saying. But for Stokes, I don't think he's going to be too disappointed there. Obviously, it was the final shot of the game which kind of cost him that result, but still created a lot of chances, still created a lot of opportunities, and still scored 3 goals in that first leg. So it's just a case maybe just tightening up a little bit at the back and taking those chances when they come, because they will be those chances, like we said.
One of these players just has to take a 2-goal lead, maybe even a 3-goal lead, considering your opponent, if you really want to be able to change your formation, sit back a little bit. But here we go then. Leg number 2 between 2 giants at this tournament, and I would not be surprised if we see these 2 in the knockout stages as well. I heavily expect them both to get through the Swiss stage.
So 4-3 to Ustun. Obviously the result here at the end of our first leg. 1 goal the difference between the two, so essentially we are at 1-0 to the Dane.
Yeah, no sort of away goals or anything in these tournaments. It will just go to extra time if they're all tied up. And then, of course, penalties if you still can't split the difference after that extra time. Something that won't be changed at this tournament, but certainly the next one, as the latest patch that is going to be introduced, the new title update, is going to take away head movement from the game as well in those penalties. I'm excited to see how that develops.
Well, here's Vieira then for Stokes. Ball into R9! Oh! The post denies him. First big chance of the game there goes to Stokes. And unfortunately R9 kind of surprises us all with how deadly he is in front of goal. Strikes the upright.
I mean, you always bank on him scoring, you always expect him to put it in the back of the net, but there's always going to be that occasional time where it does rattle against the crossbar or the post. But Stokes just has to take that and say, look, at least I'm getting into these chances, at least I'm getting into these scenarios.
Well, here's Zidane, and Ustun's trying to create space again. Cruyff is going to win the ball back. What a ball that is! R9 busts me, and turns away from his man. And Ustun now 5-3 up on aggregate, takes his chance. And again, it's just a game of chances taken.
And Stokes is frustrated because he didn't expect Cruyff to get that ball back. He had won the ball in that area, but then his player had kind of given it away to Cruyff, and it's very difficult to quickly adjust and quickly get your defenders back into position. As soon as you have that slight moment of panic of, oh, I didn't expect the ball to be given away here, and you try and play a switch, you try and get to the right defender, going up against someone like Ustun, they're going to take full advantage of that.
So it's almost similar to what we saw in that first game. Unfortunately for Stokes, he was the one that took advantage of a missed chance at one end and went up the other. This time, it's Ustun who extends his lead. After at the other end, Stokes had just struck the post. Van Dijk, what a tackle that is. Sliding in, using every single part of that huge frame to get in front. And the post is struck again. But this time it falls straight back to Stokes. And I don't think he's too happy with that goal, but he'll take anything he can get against Ustun.
I think he was frustrated because he expected that to go in, and he's saying, look, come on, I don't want to be hitting the post. I want these to be going in the net. I don't want to have to rely on a rebound, but thankfully that is one of the benefits of R9. He is a poacher. He is always going to be there looking for the rebound, even if it's his own shot. For all I said, a player needs to take a 2-goal lead here. Ustun only had that 2-goal lead for mere moments. Didn't even get time to even reconsider his tactical approach to this game. Oh, he will still only have that 1-goal lead, and I don't feel confident in a 1-goal lead for either player.
The one thing I absolutely loved in the build-up to that goal was the way that Stokes won the ball back. Virgil van Dijk just sliding in and crunching the man to get the ball. So then, now just 1 goal, like we started this game between these two players. It's going to be Stokes who comes forward again. R9's in a little bit of space. He tries to use the fake shot to get around Maldini, and I mentioned it just a few moments into this game, the scoop turn, the fake shot, and the acceleration, the power some of these players have. Such a vital tool as Pele now plays the ball inside. Ustun looking to answer back again. We've already had 9 goals. Are we going to see a 10th? Well, it gets in the way to win the ball back, and now straight up the other end, it's going to be Stokes coming forward.
And the reason why both of these players are so good at attacking is because how they utilize the scoop turns, how they utilize the drag backs. They are so good at knowing when to use them and when not to use them.
R9 inside the box. Ruud Gullit now tries to turn around Zinedine Zidane. Vieira falls to the floor in what I describe as a comical fashion off the ball. And maybe that's going to be bad news here for Stokes because Ustun's back inside the box. Eusebio! Big save from ter Stegen.
Had to get that save because that's going to be so difficult mentally if you concede a goal after your Vieira's just dropped to the floor like a sack of potatoes.
What a ball that is. This is end-to-end stuff here in Bucharest. What entertaining football we're seeing from both of these players. And now it's Neymar! 5-5!
And now I expected a scoreline like this when it was lost in the waves versus Ustun. I knew that both of these players were attacking, but I thought we might see a little bit more defensive-heavy approach as soon as there was any sort of lead taken. But Ustun wasn't able to do so. Had a 2-goal advantage, wasn't able to switch things up, wasn't able to just put men behind the ball. You can't keep Stokes at bay either. And that's why we're just going to have to go into who can score more game. Personally, I'm all for it.
I was just going to say, I'm quite happy to watch Stokes versus Ustun all day, if this is going to be what we're going to be watching. A fantastic way to kick things off here in Bucharest at FUT Champions Cup, Stage 2. And you just feel there's going to be more goals. And well read there by Stokes. I think he expected the fake shot, having seen the way that Ustun came forward before. Now Eusebio's going to get a little bit fortunate to get the ball back. We're seeing a few more tricks pulled out of the bag by both these players. And we're not even at half-time here in the second leg.
Yeah, they're starting to experiment a little bit more. Starting to have a little play around with what's working, what's not working. I really liked how Stokes stepped back, almost encouraged his defender to be a sweeper so that then he could dive in as soon as that ball had been played to the striker instead of allowing a through ball to play it past the defender.
Johan Cruyff then. Trying to turn back a little. Elastico almost finds R9. Ruud Gullit has to do some defensive work. Now Zinedine Zidane. And look at the player just flowing forward here for Ustun. Eusebio, nice and direct into R9. Van Dijk comes across and manages to just squeeze a pass through to R9. He's dropping deep here to try and create himself as Zambrotta now launches a ball back down the line over Jordi Alba. Cruyff away from his man, back inside here to R9. It's beautiful from Tom Stokes! And he's managed to turn this one around. It's 3-1 in game, 6-5 on aggregate. And I could watch these two play all day.
I mean, quite rightly, having Neo in his name now, the way he manipulates the pitch, it's like we're in the Matrix. Disgusting stuff from Stokes. He's always been one of these players, though, that as soon as you give him that freedom, that space, that opportunity to pass it and look ahead a couple of passes, he's always 2-3 steps ahead of his opponent. And everything just so smooth there for him. And he's back in the lead again.
What a game this is. As I say, quite happy to watch these two go at it all day. But this is just the first round of Swiss. We've got so many games to come today here in Bucharest. Just a reminder, you can watch every single game. Head over to watchfifaglobalseries.com to check out your favourite player and see how they're getting on. But this game is certainly one you'd be crazy to switch away from. And here's Maldini getting forward, and that says everything you need to know about the way that Ustun needs to approach this game. Can't get the ball into the box, though. We might get one more opportunity here right at the end of this half. Cruyff tries to get the shot away. Ter Stegen will come and pick it up. Stokes takes off the headset. And at half-time here, somehow, some way, Stokes has turned this around.
Stokes does need to be careful, though, in those areas. Like when he just won the ball and he quickly wanted to get the ball up to the other side of the pitch because he thought, I'll have another attack. There wasn't enough time for him to have an attack. Instead, you've just got to launch that because he almost gave it away. He almost made the mistake to allow Ustun to have another chance himself. And I think that's a lesson for both of them, really. Whoever can settle down just a little bit quicker should be able to win this game. And I say should because at this moment, I can't call it. It's so back and forth.
It's one of those where looking at it and going, you know, if one player just keeps calm and all this, I don't want that to happen right now. I just want these two to keep going forward at each other, throw everything at each other. And we're just 45 minutes left in this second leg to decide who will pick up the win here in the first round of Swiss. It still means we're going to see attacking play. Ustun chasing the game. Came into this game 1 goal in his advantage, but now it's been completely turned around as Stokes wins the ball back here. But look at Ustun keeping that pressure on Eusebio into Cruyff, tries to turn away. Great defending there from Stokes and Virgil van Dijk.
It's that initial tackle. If you don't hit it, if you don't hit that manual tackle quick enough, it's going to be a goal. And that's one thing that Stokes has been trying to do against Ustun, is step in to not allow Ustun the time to turn on the ball. And I guess that's something that you've got to do against every opponent, really, at this caliber, at this tournament, because otherwise they are just going to punish you. They are going to be able to twist and turn and shift it onto another foot and bury that ball.
Great ball there by Patrick Vieira, and here's Neymar. Stokes. Drag back, exit in the same way, and then another one there from Ruud Gullit, but the pass is lax, and now Ustun can come forward. Maldini steps in. That's a big challenge from the Italian.
Oh,
not only winning the ball back, but just halting the attack of Ustun as well. Neymar. Stokes just looks so silky on the ball at the moment.
it's the way he transitions from ball roll into fake shot, into scoop turn, into it. Like, I know it's more difficult to chain skill moves, but he seems to have been able to find the right balance of before it becomes an issue.
Oh, what a ball that is. Neymar's inside the box. He's rounded the goalkeeper. But a terrible finish there, unfortunately, from the Brazilian. Stops him from doubling his lead on aggregate.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether you didn't necessarily need to go for it. I know that I have seen those goals go in from that kind of angle, but he had a little bit more time than he thought.
So Ustun can't make anything of that attack. Now it's going to be Stokes who comes forward again. You feel another goal here really does potentially put a full stop on this game. The way that these two have been going at it, 2-goal advantage would just put that seed of doubt into Ustun's head, but Ustun trying to step away once more, and Cruyff can't get away from his man. You have to say that Stokes' defending has certainly improved in this second half.
Well, I said whoever's going to defend better, and it seems like Stokes is starting to notice a pattern in how Ustun is attacking. He is stepping in, he is making those manual tackles, and it has paid off for him at the moment.
Well, here's R9, and Stokes is looking to double the lead. R9, beautiful drag back again, but just can't get away from the man. Maldini makes the tackle. Around 30 minutes left in this game for Ustun to find a goal to send it to extra time. As Zambrotta now, the fullback, gets forward. Maybe looking for that run ahead of him, from the striker. R9 again, dropping deep, drives that into Cruyff. Space here, Eusebio! Oh, what a save or a block. A combination of defender and goalkeeper get that one over the bar, but a big chance again.
Timed it green as well. I was saying earlier that why hasn't he got the timing turned off? But I guess if you're timing him green, then credit to him. I mean, he's the kind of player who can play that way, who is going to time him. And if he sees a benefit in it, then I'm all for it. I'm sure as we get further into FIFA 20 and how the meta develops throughout the season, players will start to find more and more things that do work or don't work. I mean, we'll see those changes in play style.
It's actually going to be a goal kick, so look, that strike actually
Went wide.
didn't touch the goalkeeper, didn't touch the defender.
Well, how about that time finishing?
But maybe this one will. Big save there from ter Stegen. What a ball that was. Fantastic vision from Ustun to play the ball over the top of the centre-back, and just couldn't take that chance. And the way that this game is going down, you have to take these chances. 20 minutes left in this game now. As Ustun comes forward, but Messi can't collect the ball, but it's given away here by Stokes. Here's Neymar. Into Zidane. Pressure here from Ustun. Almost finds the ball back for Zidane, but there's going to be space on the counter once more.
Stokes again, though, still trying to go forward a little bit too quickly, rushing it a tiny bit too much. And that is allowing Ustun to get those kind of balls that maybe he shouldn't necessarily be having. Still, Stokes going forward, still looking threatening, but now as we get into the final 15 minutes of this game, and as Ustun has changed his tactics ever so slightly, Stokes is definitely going to be under a lot more pressure. So has to ensure he's a lot more calm playing that ball out from the back.
Both these players so silky smooth on the ball at the moment, possession-wise, and everything is set up here, and the strike from R9 is going to tie the game up again. What a game this is.
Time it green and you make Mark scream. Incredible stuff from Ustun. The pass, again, was on right to the left. I think it was Zidane making that run. So simple just to play that ball and say, oh, well, I'm through on goal here. That'll be an easier shot. But Ustun just changing it up a little bit, trying to be unpredictable, shifting it onto that left foot. And Stokes wasn't able to move the goalkeeper to a position where he could really make a difference. And well, looks like we might be heading to extra time, is it?
I'm fine
as it
with
stands.
that. I'm absolutely fine with that. Let these two
more
play all
of
day.
Give me more of it. Inject it.
We are seeing possibly a formation change here from Ustun. I think
he's probably changing back because he went very aggressive when he was still a goal down. And I imagine he's just going to go back to being a little bit more normal of a formation.
What a stroke that is from R9, though. Just the whip on it to get it outside the post and back in to beat the goalkeeper. You talked about time finishing. It's kind of been an interesting conversation topic that we've had in this game. We've seen it go wrong. We've also seen it go very, very right in that particular situation. And here we are, all tied up again. Maradona on the pitch for Tom Stokes. Interesting to see the Argentine introduced himself.
I feel like time finishing is one of those things where, like, if it's turned off, it's turned off. But it's turned on and you're in those areas, you kind of just go, oh, go on then, and you just smack it. And if you can time it green and put them away like that, I'm all for seeing it.
Well, here's Jordi Alba then striding down towards the touchline. A little bit of a loose pass, though, means that Ustun is going to have a chance to come forward here. Lionel Messi, look at the space here. Patrick Vieira's having to come across to deal with the danger, and that's what he does so well, but it still will be possession here to Ustun. Interesting to see Maradona on the pitch. One of the issues with Diego Maradona, of course, that weak foot. Maybe not up to standard with some of the best icons that we see in the game. Maybe that will come to the fore here as we enter these last few moments. Zidane now stepping forward. Beautiful ball in. Neymar!
Oh.
Post denies Ustun.
And we've seen that post rattled a couple of times on the other side for Stokes with R9. But that could have been the game for Ustun. Has to stay focused, though, because Stokes now will be coming forward. What a chance it was, though.
Well, here's Lionel Messi then for Stokes, and he's gone away from the fullback. Can he find the pass? Just almost overhit it, but no, finds Maradona. And maybe that's the weak foot in effect there, Dan, that right foot. Maybe not up to standard to finish that chance.
I mean, Maradona, though, I mean, if you haven't used him, he is incredible on the ball. These smaller players that wouldn't have been able to be used in previous iterations of FIFA where height was more important, where heading was a big thing, Maradona can put a shift in, and I really like him as an inclusion as a sub. Like Messi, very good on the ball, dribbling is incredible, so nippy, can get round defenders. And we'll see how, for the rest of the tournament, whether we see him popping onto that pitch a couple more times.
We're talking about Maradona. Here's another Argentine, Lionel Messi. You can't give him space on that left foot. And one man you can't give any space to is R9 Ronaldo. And at the death, Ustun goes into the lead, 7-6 on aggregate in stoppage time. This has been fun.
And what is it with Ustun? And goals in added on time. He did it in the first leg to take the lead. He's done it in the second leg. And he's taken his headset off because he knows there's not enough time for Stokes. Ustun's even stood up in this point. Stokes puts his headset back on. But is there even any point? Is he going to get one last chance? Maradona strides forward, but Ustun will take the victory in this first round of Swiss in one of the best opening Swiss rounds we've seen in recent tournament history.
And I just want to give a shout out to Dan Gaskin, because you said, I want to see this game on broadcasts. PGL made it happen. Shout out to those guys. A lot of love between Stokes and Ustun, and that's the kind of game you want to see, right? That's the kind of advert that we want to see for FIFA 20 here. A fantastic game, but it is Ustun who gets his first win on the board now. 1-0 Swiss. That's exciting. That's woken me up.